Hey everyone, so for assignment 6 we're going to move back to using the base surface that we've been using for past assignments here, and what we're going to be focusing on for this assignment is water, and particularly water flow, where does water go when it rains, defining drainage areas and catchment basins. So the first thing we want to know when considering water is where does water go? We know that it flows pretty much as far down as it possibly can most of the time, unless it infiltrates before that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my surface. You see I have everything selected. I'm going to go up to the top here under a tin surface and go to water drop. Alright, so I've selected water drop and it's asking me for a path layer. 0 is pretty much like the default that Civil 3D gives everything, but we're gonna actually make a new one here. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting this box here, and I'm going to this ellipsis here, and I'm gonna hit new. Alright, so the layer name, I'm gonna call this water drop. And for the color, I'm going to make this like a light blue. And line type will be continuous, line weight default, that's fine. Everything else is fine. So I'm going to hit OK there. We see we have water drop down here now that I've made. And I'm going to hit OK. And we are making a 2D polyline. So I'm going to hit OK there. And great. Now I have the ability, you can see my cursor says select point. I have the ability to go into my drawing here and select a point, and it draws where the water is going to go from this point. So I'm going to select another one over here. You can see water will either flow down that way or flow down here. Okay, it'll flow down that way or flow down that way. What if I select close to the edge? Alright. So we can go through our drawing and kind of determine where water will go. You see I drew a line there and then another one came in and actually connected to that line. You see I can keep on doing that, and I'm finding out that right here this is definitely one of the lower points, probably one of the fastest points that this water is going to go and run down. So what if I go here? Alright. So basically go through your drawing and add in all of these water drop analysis polylines to determine where water will actually be going. Alright guys, so I added in a few more of the water drop lines to better understand kind of how water was moving around this area. So what I want to do next is I want to define my drainage areas. So this is essentially areas in which water is flowing in the same direction. It all appears to be going to a similar point. So if you're looking at this, you can kind of see up top here we have water that's moving kind of up and to this side over here. That makes sense because we have a hill here and it's coming down. And you can see over here we have some water that's moving down to this side. We can follow these lines here and see that they all flow down this way. And then there's some water here that flows down and goes out that way. So there's pretty much like 4 distinct areas here that we're looking at. So we want to define what these areas are. So I'm going to type in right here P line, and this is for polyline. And I'm going to start drawing a polyline around these areas that I see to kind of define them. And I'm going to use that in a sec to kind of make catchment basins. So I'm just running through here and I'm kind of defining where I see water flowing in a similar direction. You might want to take the snap off. And I'm going to end it right there. So we want to split this whole area up into 4 areas. So we're using the whole space. So I'm going to do another polyline here, and I'm going to draw this next area right down here. So I can see that it's kind of moving down that way. And there, and I'm going to follow this line as well because I want to finish that object, so it's one whole object right there. Okay, so now that I have that, I want to move that, move it right there. Okay. Take that and move that there too. Alright. So I need 2 more. Let's start. And this one's going to be rather large, as we can tell. So a lot of this water is moving down in that direction. And I want to make sure I finish that. So we have that line right there, or that object, that one, and that one. So we need to make one more for this little area over here. Alright, so now we have 4 distinct drainage areas that we can kind of make our catchments from. So what we want to do now is we want to go over to this prospector tab here and look for catchments. And I'm going to right click that. I'm going to create a catchment group. Catchment group 1, that's totally fine. I'm just going to keep that the way it is. And I have 4 of them here. So I'm just going to make 4 catchment groups. So here we're finding out kind of where water is collecting in these groups, and how long the catchment is, so how long one of these lines might be, and what the flow type is. So I'm going to right click on catchment group 1, and I'm going to create a catchment from an object. So this is why we drew those polylines there before, because we need to select a polyline to define our catchment area. So I'm going to select that area. Now it says select a polyline on the uphill end and use as a flow path. So I'm going to, I'm going to go here. I'm going to select this one right here. And we're going to call this catchment 1. And it's in catchment group 1. And we will keep everything the same over here. So I'm going to hit OK. And what you see, what pops up is it's saying catchment 1. This is where it's starting. It's giving us the length of this catchment. The slope type, so horizontal, and here it is a shallow concentrated flow, and it takes the boundary and makes it purple here. So I'm going to hit exit because it's still asking for more things regarding that for catchment group 1. So it's still asking for more areas, but I want to move on to catchment group 2. So I'm going to do that, create from an object. I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to select another line there. So 2 and hit OK. You can see that popped up. I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way here. There we go. So you can see start, end, and this is 134 feet. Still shallow concentrated flow. So I'm going to do that again for this larger group. And let's select, let's select that one right there. Name that 3. Okay. So there we are. And it's that one right there. So there's a flow 517 feet, catchment 3. And our last one, which choose that one. Catchment 4. Alright, so that's basically what I want you guys to be doing for assignment 7 here. Your file or your drawing should end up looking something similar to this. It'll change depend on where you define your areas, your drainage areas, and where you draw your water droplet lines or waterfall lines. So do it like this and submit as a PDF like we have been in the drawing layout form with the ANSI layout. So submit it that way, and that is what I'm asking for assignment 7. Thanks, guys.